XR is a great industry because it's like our time, ours. Me, you, and everyone else who's lost touch with reality. I'm Cami Karis, and this is the first episode of Cami's Reality!
Yes!
A lot of reality terms are being thrown around lately. Augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality. Not always included, but I would like to include alternate reality.
What even is reality?
It's a term often casually used that can have a super complex meaning. Kind of like relationship. We could talk about complex things like string theory or the simulation hypothesis, where everything is a simulation and doesn't exist until it needs to. It's not rendered until you look that direction, and when you touch it, it goes from 2D to 3D, but even then everything is a flat projection and nothing is real, and it's all fake, and I don't exist, and reality is often used as a synonym to perspective, or what we perceive to be the truth. In reality, that's just not possible. Have you ever heard that? Am I right? My reality is that my house is never warm enough, and my partner's reality is that he needs to follow me around the house and turn down the heater to torture me. But our shared reality is that I'm in love with John Mulaney. In a sense, this means that us and or our experiences shape our reality, or at least what we perceive to be our reality. A better example of this is when you are a child and it is your reality that your parents know everything. And then they slip up a little bit and it's all downhill from there, but your reality changes. It's changed from then on. It is no longer reality that your parents know everything. With extended reality, the concept is just that. Our reality extended. Not a different reality. This reality. Plus. We are extending the content, the potential, the experience. With augmented reality, we are putting digital content in the physical world, or physical reality, and then looking at it through a window where we can see this combined reality. So the question I ask is this really here? In physical reality alone, it's not. But in augmented reality, it is. I can walk closer to it, and it stays there. It has a position and a shape in spatial reality. I can see it. You can see it. So unlike a hallucination, it can be experienced by more than one person. Let's look at something else. I just really want to solidify that it's not necessarily about the words in the air. It's about the entire expansive reality existing. It's moving it around in our space. I can look at it from many angles. Is it real? It's like we've gained an additional sight, a chance to see more world than exists in physical reality. Which is super interesting to me, to someone who's very curious about Charles Bonnet syndrome.
Charles Bonnet syndrome, put simply, is where you see hallucinations as a result of vision loss. A notable person who had this was James Thurber. He was a New York Times cartoonist, author of Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and much more.
Let's talk about hallucinations and their relationship to reality. But first, let's distinguish that hallucinations from Charles Bonnet syndrome do not interact with you like they would if they're from something like a mental illness. They don't talk to you or look at you. It's more like content superimposed onto your line of sight. Like smart filling. It's really similar to how we handle our natural blind spot.
Natural blind spot? What's that? The natural blind spot is a crazy small area in our vision that is blind. We all have it. Essentially, it just gets predictably filled in. I'll include a link more about that and how to find yours.
Are hallucinations part of reality? They only exist to the person seeing them. And if we include them, it feels like that means we have to include the imagination, and to me that seems like the opposite of reality. Also, do not tell anyone seeing hallucinations that they are part of reality. Just please don't do that.
Anyways,
imagination is not immersive. It's completely made up by the person imagining it too. But you could imagine something, create it digitally, and then bring it into a shared reality. Let's talk about alternate realities for a bit, because those are so fun and very inspirational to me as an XR creator. There's quite a handful of technology that was invented because it existed in science fiction first, which makes sense because science fiction ignores the at-time rules of reality, or the perceived rules. It used to be a reality that if you wanted to talk to someone, you needed to write them a letter or be near them in person. Later, a new rule was added that you could be near a landline. Science fiction ignored these rules, and now we have the cell phone. I've included a fun little Smithsonian link that has 10 such fun cases. Alternate realities, or sometimes referred to as alternate timelines, are often considered to either be a separate but also existing reality or a variation of this reality. I personally really like to think about slightly tweaking this reality and the possibility of bringing that into an XR application, which is kind of already what's happening, except for like a reframe of the thought process. For example, maybe there's a reality where we can leave things in the air and it's just as solid as if we left it on a table. Or maybe there's a reality where I do the dishes. Or maybe there's a reality where I can hang out with my friends and they don't have to actually come over and find out that I definitely haven't showered that day or the day before.
Sounding familiar? If you're like, Cammy, you ding dong, you could virtually meet up with your friends with a VR headset. Well, you're right. Congrats.
VR is a completely immersive experience and its own digital world that, in a sense, revolves around you. Which is kind of how I already see things. I created AR experiences before I created VR experiences. Well, actually, I haven't created any VR experiences.
When I dream about creating in VR, I admire the chance to not have to consider the background that's the chaos of the physical reality. If you like, you can have a blank slate background. Also, you don't have to include objects that have the audacity to exist in physical reality. Occlusion is when an object is occluded or hidden by another object by going in front of or behind it, which is difficult to do with digital and physical objects. This is a great space for creating those far out imaginations of what an alternate reality could look like, and then the ones that are closer tied to this reality I think should be created in augmented reality, since that one includes this physical world. What do you think of reality? How many realities are there? How many are human-made? What isn't reality? If you answer the questions I just posed by commenting below within the first 3 days, you'll be entered in a chance to win this sick book by Helen Papagiannis. It's called Augmented Human. It's a divine. It has a lot of good chapters about connecting the human senses to sensations in XR. I'm a huge fan of the concept of extending the human with technology. So this book really sets that part of my heart aflutter. It's really good. I'll be including a link to it below in the description, but also keep in mind, if you comment below within the first 3 days, what is reality? How many realities are there? How many do you think are man-made? What isn't reality? Or just kind of like talk about human-made realities in general, then you're entered in a chance to win, as long as it's in the first 3 days. Next week, find out who the winner is, or winners if there's too many good answers, on our show on April 8th. Thanks for watching. I'm Cami Karras, commonly known as Cami from Torch. I really appreciate you watching the first episode in my new show, Cami's Reality. I've included various resources, including, but not limited to, a really dope TED Talk on Charles Bonnet syndrome and the really popular Wired article, Mirror World. Next week, we'll explore our first piece of XR technology, the Torch app, of course. We'll explore many more, but we have to start with Torch. Also, look forward to more episodes relating creative expression and the use of XR. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you thought. I'm all ears for feedback, my dears. Bye!